This is Deep Dive into Joy, and I'm your host, Gina Rickner. Hey, Joy listeners, it's your host, Gina. Welcome back to Deep Dive into Joy. This is a show where we explore purpose, joy, and the powerful ways people live out their callings. We also talk about health and wellness here and our faith journeys. Today, I am honored to sit down with someone who stands at the intersection of leadership, education, and faith. My guest today is Justin Fye. He is an elementary school principal who leads not only with vision and strategy, but with compassion and a deep sense of joy. Even in the hardest moments, if you've ever wondered what it's like to lead a school community through ups and downs and literally everything in between, this episode is for you. I hope you guys tune in, so let's dive in. Today's episode is sponsored by Clean Monday Meals Company. Are you tired of the mystery ingredients and hidden junk in your meals? At Clean Mondays, they keep it simple and clean. Only real, clean, purposeful seasonings, you guys. There's no MSG, preservatives, or artificial flavors. And what I love most is there's absolutely no seed oils or refined sugars. Their products are crafted to nourish your body and delight your taste buds, using ingredients you can recognize and seasonings you can trust. So whether you're a busy parent, you're health conscious professional, or you're just simply craving a reset, Clean Monday Meals makes it easy to eat well without compromise. They just came out with their barbecue line, which is very tasty. You guys have to try it. And one of my favorites right now is the organic ramen noodles. Yes, you guys heard me. You don't have to eat the plastic, cheap, artificial ramen from the store anymore. They also have the chicken, the beef, the pork ramen seasonings. And another one of my favorite is the ranch seasoning. Let me just give you a little tip here. Buy yourself some sour cream, mix in the ranch, and you guys have yourselves the best chip dip you ever did taste. And for your veggies too, I guess. Real food, real flavor, real simple. You guys, use my link, cleanmondaymeals.com/Gina, Gina, 9350079. Or you can use my code, Gina Rickner, which is all capital, and you guys are going to receive 10% off your order today. I will also list this in the show notes, and you can find it on my Facebook and Instagram pages at gina.rickner. Clean Monday Meals Company. Clean starts here. Hi, Justin. Welcome to the podcast. It's so nice to have you here. I just want to thank you for taking the time to come on with me. We know each other because my kids attended the same school district where you're the principal, and you also go way back with my husband. You yourself are a husband, a dog dad, and an amazing principal. But before we start, I just want to know, what is your favorite drink?
Well, first of all, I want to thank you for having me on. It's a pleasure. I know when I saw that you were doing this podcast, I reached out to you because I thought it'd be a great thing. I just love everything about our school community and everything that you do, so I appreciate being on here. And my favorite drink would be lemonade.
Yeah.
Nice and simple.
Good. Yeah. So let's start with your story. Can you tell us a little bit how you even got into education and what led you to become a principal?
Yeah, absolutely. When I first went to college, after knowing your husband for quite a few years, I went to school in North Carolina. At that time, I felt like I wanted to do something with kids. I just didn't know what I wanted to do. I was thinking about going into finance. I love money and dealing with numbers. And in the summers every year, I would volunteer at the YMCA. My brother and I would run a lot of the T-ball programs, and I just loved working with kids. And through that, I just felt like I wanted to try to make a difference for kids because I had a lot of people that influenced me growing up. I also felt that I love sports. An easy way of being able to coach is working in a school district as a teacher. So I would say about halfway through my freshman year of college is really when I decided I would like to be a teacher, get into the education field, and just trying to make a difference for kids that I felt people made a difference for me growing up.
Yeah, that's really cool. So this wasn't a question, but you always wear the fancy suits and everything. So where did that come in? That's just your personality?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I still feel like even when I first started teaching, I had crazy ties I wore all the time. I never wore a suit jacket or anything when I was a teacher. It was just the ties. Once I became an assistant principal at Moshannon Valley, I was excited about, my job, and the kids loved my crazy ties that I wore. So I wanted to have some goofy suits. I still remember my first snowflake suit that I had. I wore it. I was a K to 12 assistant principal, and none of all the kids would believe I was wearing it. None of the adults
Yeah.
believed. They were like, "What are you doing? What are you wearing?" And but I just have fun with it. And I even now, even when I'm coaching wrestling, even yesterday, I had a couple of people we had our golf tournament yesterday, and I had a couple of people ask me about like crazy suits. Do you have any new ones for this year coming up? Which I told them I do, and they asked me why, and I said, well, one, it's part of why I am a principal now. I want people to understand you can do whatever you want. You can be yourself. That's what the world's all about. So that's one of the things that I like doing. But number two, I'm easy to find that way. So if
Oh,
someone
that's
needs to
true.
find me, they can spot the
Yeah.
suit or the bright shirts that I wear. The crazy socks that I'm in a crazy sock thing now. Kids bring me socks all the time. Those aren't as easy to see because I have my pants on. But I just enjoy it, and I think it's fun, and the kids love it, and that's
Yeah.
what it's all about for me. And I think the parents like it too.
Yeah, I think it's funny. I think the kids absolutely love it. What is one moment from your early career that really stuck with you?
One of the moments as an administrator was right after I became an administrator. So when I was at Moshannon Valley, I became an administrator halfway through the year in 2016, 2017. And I finished that school year, and my thought, I was always in the classroom, so I didn't see immediate impact that I as an administrator as I would as a teacher, because I can see that everyday growth that the kids had in a classroom. And I went and talked to my superintendent about it, because I said, hey, I'm not sure if this is the right fit for me. I really like being in the classroom. And he said, I want you to sit back and make some goals for the next couple of years of how you can try to improve our school. He goes, once you see how you can improve the school, you're going to be able to have impact on the entire building, not just one classroom. He said, you're not going to see the immediate impact as an administrator. It's going to take a little bit of time. And at that time, as an assistant principal, I really wasn't in charge of the school, so I didn't get to see that. But when I came to Phillipsburg Elementary, and this is now my 6th year, after that first year going into the second year with COVID and everything going on, I was able to see a lot of immediate impact for our building. So I think something like that, that message I received from the superintendent at Mo Valley when I was there of saying, hey, sit back and think, you're going to make an impact for a whole building, not just for a classroom. I feel like that was really important to me from the principal administrative side of it.
Yeah.
So I think that's something that I always remember. And it was just a short conversation we had, and he said he would support me whatever I wanted to do. If I wanted to be in the classroom, if I wanted to keep being an assistant principal, and I feel like that was really important to me, and that's something that I always remember for myself about the impact for the whole building.
Yeah, that's so cool. So being a principal is no small task. What does a typical day look like for you?
Oh, wow. All right. So I tell people, one of my goals is to write a book someday, and
I
just
think that'd be fun.
have a journal where
Yeah.
each day I just write down how my day went at the end of the day, because I feel like
You should
I would
totally do
almost
that.
title it the Jungle Book, because you never know what's going to happen. It's a new adventure every day. And normal day is I try to get in between 6 and 6:30, just to try to get myself ready for the day, look at my schedule, see what's coming up, see if I have to go in and do any observations in a classroom, see if we have an assemblies coming up. So I do that. I get a chance to talk with our secretary, Mrs. Wallace, in the morning, and see if she has anything for me to do. Because once 7:35 hits and the kids start coming in the building,
It's all chaos.
really whatever I have planned, like I tell people this, I usually have like 10 things planned. I'm happy if I get 1 or 2 done during
Yeah.
the day. But as a principal, you have to be on call all the time. And one of the things that I don't like is to sit in my office. So once 7:35 hits, if I don't have to be in my office, I try not to be in my office. I like to be out in the hallways. I like stopping by the classrooms. Once that 7:35 hits, the day, I don't know what it's going to look like, but a typical day would be go throughout the day, stop in the classroom, see the teachers, be available for the kids, the teachers throughout the day. Once the day ends, my day really never ends. It never has a start, never really has an end time, but one thing that I always make sure I do is make sure all of our kids get home at the end of the day. So I normally don't leave the building until it's probably 4:30, 4, when I know about the time when all the buses are dropping the kids off by then, just to make sure that if I'm not needed anywhere, I try to do that. And for myself, I try to go in on the weekends. Saturday mornings, Sunday mornings are a good time for me to go in when there's nobody else in the building, and I try to get a lot of my work done then.
Yeah.
That way I can be available for everybody during the school day.
So, what are some of the biggest challenges you face in this role? I'm sure there's many.
Absolutely. One of the hardest parts when I came to Phillipsburg Elementary was learning 430 kids' names.
Oh yeah,
When I was at-
I can't even remember one.
Oh my goodness! When I was at Meshana Valley, I had taught a lot of those kids, so it made it easy. When I came to Phillipsburg Elementary, I knew a lot of parents, but I didn't know a lot of the kids. And I remember going in and talking with Mr. Baker, because that was when COVID was going on, and Mr. Baker was the principal before me. And I was fortunate enough to take some days and go in and work with Mr. Baker, and he gave me a yearbook. And
Oh, that's a good idea.
that summer, I was going through looking at kids. The only problem was all the kids had to have the same haircut, wear the same outfit they had on in the yearbook. Otherwise, I probably wasn't going to remember them. So, learning the kid's name was very challenging. And another challenging part is I enjoy talking with parents. I feel like we can always resolve any issues, but at times my job is to make the best decision possible for the kids. It's not for the parents, it's for the kids. And so, it's for yourself as a mama bear, you're a mama bear. You're going to protect your kids. You want what's best for your kiddos all the time, and that's what I expect to hear from every parent. But sometimes there's tough decisions we have to and tough conversations I have to have with some parents sometimes. But I want them to always understand the end goal is going to be what's best for their child. So I think that's probably one of the most challenging things. I don't have a problem making a phone call and talking, but just trying to make sure they understand where I'm coming from. That's
Yeah.
the hard part of it.
So, can you share a story where you felt especially proud or grateful as a leader?
I would say,
I mean, I'm
the
sure
fir-
there's more than one, but
oh yeah, absolutely. This is something every year. The very first day of school, I wake up, even now talking about it, I get goosebumps talking about that first day of school. I get so excited about seeing the kids because seeing our PE family, our kids, our teachers, our faculty, staff. I love it every day. And the last day of school, I'm so proud to see, and not really being able to predict what the future is going to be like for those fifth graders as they move on to the middle school. I haven't had the chance, from my first year there, the oldest group of kids I've had, they're now 10th grade. So when those 10th graders go to graduate, that's going to be another proud moment, seeing that first group that I had and then every group after that graduating. But I'm proud every day. Proud, I appreciate everybody in our building, families, students, faculty, staff, everything they do, because they care so much about the kids. So I would say every day's a proud day for me.
Yeah.
I don't have any particular moment. You and I were talking a little bit before. We had a student this past school year that was diagnosed with cancer right after Christmas time. And seeing what our entire school community did for that student and their family, from the different fundraisers we were doing to his own classmates having a movie night, to setting up Zoom meetings with the classroom for, like, that's what it's all about. That, and knowing that he's coming back into our building to start this school year is amazing.
yeah, it's awesome.
Those are the goosebumps that I love getting. So I would say in recent times, that's a super proud moment for myself as a principal.
So let's talk about faith. We're all called to serve, and I think being a principal is quite the way to serve. So, how has your faith shaped the way that you lead?
Yeah, I am a firm believer that everything does happen for a reason, good and bad. We've had great things happen to us. We've had terrible things happen to us, and it's all about how you respond to that moment and focus on the future and not focus on the past. Too many times we're always focused on the past of saying, I wish I would have done this. I wish I would have done that. Everybody says that. So it's about how can I make the future better, not only for myself, but for the others around me. So I feel like just my belief in knowing that there's a reason why everything happens, and knowing that going into every situation, there is a way we can fix an issue. There's always some kind of solution to whatever's going on. So for myself, just knowing that, because there's ups and downs every day. You're going to go from a high to a low at all times, and just
Mm-hmm.
knowing that if I can take that moment, think about that feeling that I had, good or bad. If it was a great feeling, I want that feeling again. If it was a
Yeah.
bad feeling, I don't want that again. And knowing that the next time in that situation, that's how I want to respond to that. I tell kids this all the time, as and adults, as a principal. Everybody, we go through millions of situations every single day, whether we think about it or not. We
Mm-hmm.
do. And you're going to make good choices, bad choices. At the end of the day, we're all going to put our heads on a pillow. We're all going to go to sleep at night. And for my job and for what I say is, if I don't lose any sleep at night, that means I felt like I made the right decisions. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm not being arrogant or anything. I don't lose too many nights sleep
Yeah.
once my head hits the pillow. So I feel confident in the decisions that I'm making. But just knowing that at the end of the day, if I did have a wrong decision, I am staying up at night. I need to rethink that and come in the next day and, okay, how can I adjust? How can I make that situation better?
Yeah. How do you like recenter yourself during the day? Like, is there anything that you do to kind of
Um,
like help yourself just take a
yeah.
breath and readjust?
For myself, I have about a 25-minute drive to and from school. I really try to take that time in the morning to just relax. I might listen to a podcast. I don't really listen to music a lot in
Mm-hmm.
the morning when I'm driving to school. I just try to think about my day. When I'm on my way home, I have a time to, think about how the day went, kind of let some hot air out for myself
Mm-hmm.
if it wasn't a great day or anything like that. During the school day, if I have something going on that's tough, I make sure I go see kids. I'll get out of my office, I'll go into a classroom. I love going into every single classroom. Kindergartners, of course, you never know what they're going to say and
Yeah.
do. So that's a great way of going in and just getting them pumped up. They get you
That's
pumped
true.
up. So for myself, I try to go out and see kids throughout the day, because they are the reason why I do what I do. And they're going to bring the smile to my face. So when I need to do a little reset, just going to see them can change my day.
Yeah, I love how you're so involved and not just sitting in your office,
Yeah.
but you're always walking throughout the school and in and out of the classroom. So I think that's awesome. How do you bring your values into leadership, especially when decisions are tough or when you're supporting students and staff in a crisis? Like you went through COVID, so I can't even imagine going through that,
Oh, absolutely. Well,
leading everyone through that.
oh yeah. Well, that's what I told everybody. My first 3 years at PE weren't normal. The first 2 years weren't normal school years. So going into a new building, a new district, I couldn't do anything normal for that first year and a half to 2 years. So up until that third year, when we started to get it rolling, of this is our normal now. We have it back to where we want it to be. That was a big challenge there. But I feel like just knowing that we're a family. I'm a big family person, and I
Hmm.
know there's some things that we'll talk about with family. I'm a big family person, and if you ever see anything I ever write out, it always starts PE family or PE
Hmm.
families, because we are a family. We all have to stick together because we're all in this together.
Yes.
And so for myself, I really relied on my family. My family is a strong support. My wife, my parents, my brother, very strong supporting in what I'm doing, and our faculty and staff. We have 430 kids in our building. I have full trust in our faculty and staff having the right intentions of why they're involved in what they do as well. So knowing that I can trust everybody around me makes my job a lot easier. So I think just putting yourself around the people that you can trust, and the ones where you might not that you can't trust them, but the ones where you're like, hey, I need to get to know them a little bit better.
Hmm.
I really try to go get to know the personal side of people sometimes, just so I can relate to them a little bit better to build that trust.
Yeah.
Because once you can trust people, then everything else is going to be easy to do. You don't have to rely on yourself doing everything. But at the same time, as a principal, I want our faculty staff to know that I'm there for them, whatever they need.
Yeah.
I want our students to know whatever they need, I'm there. I want our families to know whatever they need, I'm there. So just building that trust, that's really important to me. And just knowing that we can always work through everything and make sure we're going in the right direction.
What are your go-to practices or mindsets that help you stay joyful and hopeful?
I have a couple. So one, I am super competitive. So growing up playing sports, my wife is super competitive still. I tell
Uh-oh, I bet you that's not good in the household
nah,
when you're playing games.
oh no, absolutely. Game nights aren't good. Super competitive in our house. We'll end up playing like an extra 2 or 3 hours
Oh
because we
my.
keep going till either I'm going to win or she's going to win, or if we have other families there, like my nieces, nephews, they get excited about. They're pretty competitive too. So that part of it, I think, is a good thing because you want to be competitive. It doesn't mean you have to win and you're mad when you don't win, but that's that sense of pride. When you're competitive, that's where you can really see the pride that people have. So the competitiveness is really important. But I also feel like I'm a very humble person. Um, there are times when people might not think I am, but at the end of the day, like I said, I try to go back and rethink about my day and say, hey, did I make the right choice? If I didn't make the right choice, I'm going to go back to that person and apologize to them and say, let's try to figure this out.
Yeah. Own up
So
for your mistakes.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I'm really big on that, and a lot of people saying I'm sorry is very difficult to do. A lot of people don't like to do that. So for myself, I'm fine with saying I'm sorry,
Hmm.
but I'm also a firm believer in negative sorries or one that they don't mean and they just say it. I
Yeah.
want someone to mean it when they say it, even when I'm talking to if I'm talking to a first grader about they did something, they're like, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. I'm like, that's fine. I just want to make sure that we don't do this again. But I feel like I'm a humbled person, and that competitiveness, but also being humble, kind of, that's a good combination to have
Hmm.
for myself. That's really helped me be successful.
For anyone listening who feels called to leadership, or maybe they're already in it but feeling weary, what encouragement would you offer to them?
I would tell them to be open for new challenges. I don't like to get stagnant in what I'm doing. I'm always looking for something new to try to do, whether it's to improve myself, improve the others around me. So be open to those challenges. Uh, uh, I said everything happens for a reason, so you're going to have to be in there for the goods and the bads.
Hmm.
But also, just like I said, take on that challenge. Be excited about something new coming up. I'm hoping Keegan, your son this year, might want to come out for student council because we have a student council in our
Yes.
building that we work with kids. I tell our student council kids every year, when I was in fifth grade, I would have never stood up in front of anybody and talked.
No,
I might
me
have I
either.
might have spoke in front of my classmates with 20 kids in the room, but I wouldn't get up in front of a whole building or in front of all the families or anything like that. I was very shy growing up, so I was able to come out of my shell a little bit, and take on some challenges. And the kids couldn't believe me every year when I tell them that I was shy. I wouldn't get up in front of anybody. And now these kids in the student council, they get up in front of the whole school and talk, or they'll make a video that we share to all the families in our district. And that's what makes me super excited about these kids. But for myself, it was just overcoming those challenges, taking on those challenges, and just seeing what's out there. There's amazing things in this world.
Hmm.
See what's out there. Try some new things. Push yourself to always want to try to be better. And whenever you feel like you're at that point, you're stuck. There's always something out there that's going to get you out of that rut. So just know that you can do whatever you want to do.
Yeah. What would you say to a young educator who dreams of being a principal someday?
I would say to take on that challenge and do it, but do it at the right time. I felt like throughout my career, whenever I went to become a principal, I wasn't expecting to be a principal. I was going through my principal certs at that time, and we just all of a sudden had an opening. A husband and wife left our district at the same time. Our superintendent approached me and said, "Hey, would you like to be a principal? I'd like for you to apply and interview." And I said, I don't know. Like, that wasn't something I was thinking about doing, even though I was taking classes.
Hmm.
That was maybe further down the road. But once again, taking on that challenge because you don't know what's out there. So for myself, it was just, even when I first became a teacher and started teaching first grade, that's in Maryland, just be excited about what you're doing. These kids love you. You know, we're here for these kids. We're there to help. We've had our time to shine in our lives.
Hmm.
Our goal is to help get these kids to be rock stars and superstars and do whatever they want to do. So knowing that that's the reason why we do what we're doing, that should be in it of itself to say, I want to be a teacher. I want to be an
Right.
educator. I want to make a difference for those
And I
kids.
feel like majority of the time, you guys are the only thing they have to look up to. So,
Yes, absolutely. This morning when I was uh, thinking about coming out here, you don't have to love these kids a lot. Some of these kids just need a little love. They just need someone to say, "Hi, how was your day? What'd you have for supper last night? I heard you. What level were you on in this video game? Because kids like video games now. It's just something little like that to build that connection with the kid. That's all they need. And you're absolutely right. Some of our kids, they, and I love all of our families, but some kids get a lot more support than the others. And kids see that, so when they're in our building, we really try to push to, welcome all of our kids, treat them all the same, and that's what our teachers do a great job of doing. They don't really care who your name, what your name is, where you come from. You're in our building, you're in my room. I'm gonna love you. I'm gonna care for you. And sometimes it's tough to separate that professionalism from your personal feelings sometimes too, as a teacher, because so many times as a teacher you're like, I just want to take that kid home with me for a couple
yeah,
days.
that's my problem.
Yes.
I would have all the kids at my house.
Yes, and yes, that's great. But when they're with us from 7:30 to 2:30, 3 o'clock every day, that's for some of our kids, that's their best time of the day. Like, that's what they're looking forward to, and we need to make sure that they enjoy that experience. So going back to getting into education world, seeing these kids grow up. Now I have kids that are teachers. There's kids that I taught that are now teachers. And
Yeah, it's pretty
seeing,
neat to see that.
yeah, and seeing where they're at, that's what makes me so proud of getting in the education field, because you're making a difference for a lot of kids every day, and you can see the growth and rewards in that.
Was there a teacher or mentor in your life that inspired your path?
There
I'm
was.
sure there was.
So one of my favorite, and this was like going back to the competitiveness, was Mr. Ammerman. I had Mr. Ammerman in elementary school at North Lincoln Hill. That's now the middle school. Grew up with his son, but Mr. Ammerman made learning fun. And I mean, all my teachers, I could go through every single teacher I ever had and talk about something that they did that helped shape me to be the teacher that I was, or to be the administrator, or even just be the person that I am today. But the one person was, if I had to name one, to be Mr. Ammerman. He made everything a competition, a game. He was very competitive himself. So I just remember, being in his class. He was always honest with us. I remember he let us chew gum on Friday. He was the first teacher to let us chew gum on Friday. So when I was a teacher, my students could chew gum on Friday. We played washers in his room. When I was a teacher, I had washers in my room. But just how he talked to us, and yes, we felt like he was a friend, but he knew he was a professional in what he was doing. That's what I really think back to Mr. Ammerman. And then this morning I was talking to my brother, and I was telling him I was coming out here, and I told him that was going to be one of the questions about like a teacher that influenced me. And he wanted me to say, and all the people that went to Phillipsburg, Osceola in the high school and had Mr. Brungo for math class. Mr. Brungo I would always look forward to Mr. Brungo's class. He was so passionate about you being in his room, and he cared. And even the days he might raise his voice at you or tell you to go for a walk in the hallway or whatever he had to do.
That's still caring, though.
Yeah. He would still come back, and he would be the first person to say, hey, how are you today? So Mr. Brungo. But like I said, every single teacher I had played some kind of role into where I am today. So I appreciate all of them, and some of them probably never thought I'd be where I'm at today.
Right.
Not that it was a bad thing. They might have thought my pathway was going to be something different, but I appreciate
And you said you
everything.
were shy, so
Oh, yeah.
they probably never would have
Oh, yeah,
imagined you
absolutely.
being in this
I wouldn't-
position.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, just a fun question. If you weren't in education, what do you think you'd be doing? Rock band? No, just
Oh,
kidding.
no. I'm not good on the instruments. I can play a recorder a little bit. So, I mean, growing up, I always wanted to be a professional baseball player. So I
Okay.
love baseball.
Yeah.
So, I would always love to do that. But when I was in college, my father and a lot of the males on my dad's side, my uncles, my cousins, they were all in the pipeline industry.
Okay.
So they were traveling a lot. My dad traveled a lot when my brother and I was growing, when we were growing up. And so I could possibly be in that industry. I like numbers, so possibly the finance side of that. So that possibly could have been something. That's when I worked in the summers in college. That made me not want to do that.
Yeah.
Like I was good. I still remember when I got offered my first teaching job in Maryland. I was in Illinois in about a 15-foot ditch, and it was probably 100 degrees out. And our foreman of our crew yelled into the hole. He said, "Hey, Justin, when you get out of there, you need to call your dad." And so I called my dad, and he's like, "Hey, this school district or this county in Maryland called. They need you to call them." So I called, and my dad must have told him what I was doing. And they said, "Hey, we heard you're in Illinois working right now. Is it hot?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's like 100 degrees right now." And they said, "Well, we want to offer you a position where you could work in an air conditioned classroom. What do you think?" I'm like,
Yes,
"Yep,
please."
absolutely. I will be there next week if I have to." So, once I decided I wanted to be a teacher, and getting in the education field, I can't imagine doing anything else. Possibly the pipeline would have been something, but finance, I love numbers and things
Yeah.
like that. So maybe something in finance.
What do you think the public misunderstands most about your role?
I, th- there's a process to everything. I feel like people think that when they make a phone call, it should be done. Snap my fingers, it's done, and we don't need to talk about it anymore.
Yeah.
But there's such a process in everything we do, whether it's from, a kid registering to come to school. There's a lot of things that parents don't realize that we need to get, in order to have a kid start school. When a kid's moving in from another district, or when one of our kids are moving to another district, to even in the classroom, with accommodations for a student. We can't just go and hurry up and make a whole bunch of accommodations until we have the data to show here are the accommodations we need to have. To the evaluation process in school, whether it's for gifted or for learning disability, there's a process that goes to all that. And I wish we could just the next day have everything in place, because we know all the things that we have all the tools to know how we can help people be successful, but we can't always just go and do it. We have to have that process of doing that. So from my side of it, working with the teachers, working with the families, I think just making them realize there's a process. I think that's the biggest thing. And also, there are some things we have to do as educators that parents don't like. Attendance is such a big thing in schools nowadays, and trying to get the kids back into school. So I have parents that are upset when I say, "Hey, we need to meet about being in school," and things like that. And just for them to understand that it goes beyond us in the building. That's a state, federal level of how stuff works. So the process of how everything works, I think that's probably something that people don't understand until you really sit down and talk to them about it.
Yeah. How do you foster a culture of respect and motivation in your school?
I am a true believer that you get what you give. So if I'm going to come in and keep that positive attitude and smiling and want everyone to try to make best decisions, I need to model that myself as a leader, whether it was a teacher or as an administrator. So I really feel to foster a really good school community, one is to, treat others how you want to be treated, which we always are told that. And number two, build that family culture. Like I said, I love family, and trying to get these families in. We do our lunches, we have these breakfasts, we try to do the events in the evenings. I know with the PTO, working with the PTO, you try to do a lot as well, because I feel like the more you get the families involved, the more invested they feel. But also at the same time, when their kids are excited about going to school, as a parent, that eases your mind too. So then it makes that connection even better. So that's really important.
So would that be the same for your teachers and staff? Like, how do you mentor them
Yeah,
and keep them fired up throughout the school year?
yeah. I try to. I feel like our teachers know that I really care about them. I'm someone that I'll do whatever I need to do to try to keep positive attitudes going on. We're not always going to have it. We have, counting the adults in our building, we have over 500 people in our school every day. So that's a lot of people, and you're not going to make everybody happy. You throw in the parents, now we're looking at over 1,000. So you're never going to make everybody happy, but just trying to find ways to lighten the mood, make it fun. I love spirit weeks, like my suits. I love doing things I love having fun assemblies, making myself get slimed, letting kids throw
Kissing a
eggs out,
pig.
kissing a pig, little things like that. And sometimes you need to have that. There are times throughout the year, and you ask any teacher or anybody in education, there are a couple spots during a year where it's like a lull.
Oh, yeah, I'm
Where
sure.
you go a long period of time, there aren't really any vacations in there. It's just, we're at the grind, all
Hmm.
working together. So trying to find some times during those periods to, make it fun for everybody. That's the key to being successful.
Yeah. Are there any particular moments where your faith had to carry you?
Yeah. So I would say right after I became assistant principal at Mashana Valley, my wife's mother had cancer and she passed away. And she is still one of the strongest, most kind, caring people I've ever met in my life. She would give you every cent out of her pocket before she would take care of herself. And so when she passed away, that was, I mean, number one, it was really tough for my wife and her family. But for myself, she was my second mother. I love my mom. My mom's my, my wife and my
Hmm.
mom are my number ones. But her mother was right there. And so she influenced me a lot about, trusting in people and building a good relationship. And that really taught me a lot about trying to make the right decisions, because she even said, you represent not only yourself, you represent a lot of people, so you have to believe that everybody else around you is going to always make the right choice, because it might make you look good, it might make you look bad, and you don't get the
Hmm.
decision on their choices they make. So that really brought about a lot of faith for me into knowing that there's really a plan for everything. And like I said, she would do anything for everybody. I mean, she just taught me about the value of what family means. And so that's something that I've carried, and just believing that that's the truth.
Yeah. So, how has being a principal impacted your family life?
Well, number one, it is busy.
Hmm.
Um, my wife and I, we are super. Like I said, we're super competitive. She's also she's an educator. She is also involved in athletics. She officiates high school and college basketball. So we are both very, very busy people. So we try to find times to make sure that we're connecting in the evenings, talking about our days,
Hmm.
seeing how everything's going on. Um, but she's been so supportive in everything that's going on, to know that she knows if I call and say, hey, I have to stick around a little bit later, I have a family coming in, or I need to do this. She's so supportive of that. And that's made our relationship a lot stronger.
Yeah.
um, and then with my parents, I grew up in Phillipsburg, and I live about 20-25 minutes from Phillipsburg. Now that's this opportunity has been great to be in Phillipsburg, Osceola, because I drive my parents past my parents' house to and from
Hmm.
school every day. Excuse me. So I make sure I stop and say hi to them multiple times during the week. So it's been really important to me, and it's a great thing. I feel so supportive. Uh, I feel like I want people to be proud, my family,
Hmm.
and I think they are proud. And I love representing them in everything I do.
Yeah. I think they're proud of you too. When you retire one day, what do you hope your students and staff remember about you?
Well, I'm sure they'll remember my suits and
Oh,
socks.
for sure.
Um, I just want them to know that I was someone that cared about them.
Hmm.
That the goal was for them to be successful, not for me to be successful. As I said, I've had my time to shine. This is where I'm at. I want them to know that there's a lot of things out in this world, and they can be anything they want. It
Hmm.
doesn't matter if you want to be a rocket scientist, an astronaut, if you want to wash cars for a living, you can do whatever you want.
Hmm.
It's out there. And so I want everybody to know that I really cared about them, that I love having fun. I want our kids to enjoy being in school. So I want them to say, I was fun. Uh, I was probably goofy at times, but at the end of the day, that I really care about
Hmm.
everybody. And that's really important to me.
What's one special thing about your school that no other school has?
Hmm. one, we have amazing faculty and staff. Our faculty and staff is
Yes, we love our
unbelievable.
PE teachers, that's for sure.
Absolutely, absolutely. And our families are amazing. I love when our friend Jim Bob comes around during the holidays
Oh,
and the
yeah.
families get excited about seeing where Jim Bob, that's our elf on the shelf and our real live elf on the shelf in our building. Um, but I think it's just the pride that we have in what we do.
Hmm.
Everybody enjoys being in the building. We want to see success, but at the end of the day, it's just feeling proud of yourself and what you're doing. So the pride that we have, I feel, is like something no other building has.
Yeah, there's a lot of spirit in our school,
Absolutely.
our community.
And no other building has a gym, Bob. So I know
True.
that too. Um, but I, we're super tight knit. We are a family. Like we are definitely a family, and that's what's really good. We're gonna have great times. We're gonna have times where we don't always agree, but we're still gonna figure it out together and push through that. So that's what's really important, and that's another thing. Like just the family aspect of it
Hmm.
is something I feel like not other schools would have a strong relationship as far as feeling a part of a family.
So I ask all my guests these questions. If you could tell your younger self one thing today, what would that be?
Figure out how I wouldn't have lost my hair. Like I'm going bald in the back, and
Or turning
that
gray.
happened, and turning gray. Absolutely, I could deal with the gray a little
Oh,
bit.
I
It's
need
still
to know where all
hard.
my grays are coming from.
But trying to figure out how I could keep from being bald, I guess that would be something I would tell myself. Number two, and everybody says this. You've gone through it. Now you have kids that are going through it, and you're like, man, I wish I would have spent more time doing this.
Hmm.
Whether it was studying or practicing or doing something like that. Um, but it's just knowing that be being willing to take on challenges. That was the biggest thing.
Yeah.
I felt like as I started to get older, once I went to college, I was able to do that. But when I was younger, I didn't take on as many challenges as I probably wish I would have.
And what legacy would you like to leave behind, whether it's through the school, your family, whatever?
I would love for people to just know that I'm a family person
Hmm.
and I love family. I love my family. I love our school family. I love our district family. I just want people to know that I was someone that would always try to put others before myself because I want others to know what's out there and that they can be successful and be anything they want.
And one last question, what is your favorite Bible verse?
Uh, so this was tough. So I wrote it down. So I had Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. It says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and learn not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to Him, and He will make your path straight." So for me, as a leader, there's always a reason. Going back to how we kind of started, there's a reason why everything happens, good and bad.
Hmm.
And knowing that even when there's difficult decisions that are unclear, you're going to be put in the right pathway. Whether you felt like you make the right decision or you've made the wrong decision, it's still going to put you on a pathway to get
Hmm.
you where you eventually want to be. And just knowing that faith is always there to guide you, but you also have to have some humility too. You
Hmm.
have to be able to get humbled at times and say, "Yeah, I made the wrong
Yeah,
choice.
it's
I need
hard
to
for a
learn
lot of
from it."
people. Yeah.
Absolutely. When we were younger, we didn't care,
No.
right? We just did whatever we wanted and then figured out the consequences or
Hmm.
repercussions at the end of that. But as we become adults, we understand a little bit more because our goal is to guide our children, our spouses, our family, our students, our coworkers. Our job is to help try to be supportive of them and help guide them as well. So, a verse like that really hits home with me when I go back to say everything happens for a reason,
Hmm.
and it's so important to know you have to take it with the goods and the bads and keep moving on and being ready for the next time you might have to be put in that same position.
Yeah. Justin, I want to thank you again so much for coming on today. This was an amazing conversation. We just appreciate your openness, your faith, and your example of joy through your leadership. You've reminded us that leading with the heart is possible, and we just appreciate all that you do as a principal in our school. This is sadly our last year in elementary, and it's going to be a really hard year for us. But you've been, one of the best, and I love hearing about everyone's life's journeys and testimonies and just learning how they find joy in everyday life. And I really think that can help others as they're walking through some of the same things. And the Bible does tell us that we are called to serve. In Galatians 5:13, it says to serve one another humbly in love. So Paul reminds us here that believers, that our freedom in Christ isn't for selfish gain, but for loving service to others. And true service comes from humility, putting others' needs before your own. We find that in Philippians 2:3-4 and 1 Peter 4:10. Each of you should use whatever gift you have received to serve others, as faithful stewards of God's grace in its various forms. Serving is how we steward the talents and callings God has given us. So let's just have a little bit of fun before we go, Justin. We'll play some rapid fire. And the first question is, what is your favorite school subject as a kid?
Math.
Math.
Absolutely.
That makes sense since you like numbers.
Yep.
What is one school supply you are oddly passionate about?
I'm a paperclip person. Like going through all the papers that I have a lot, I have to try to stay organized. So paper clips are really important to me.
And we probably already know this, early bird or night owl. You kind of have to be an early bird, right?
I am. I'm actually both. I can stay up a little later, but in my morning time is always good. But I like being an early bird. People don't know, but in the summers, with where our school's located, we have the golf course there. I'll go up at 5:45, 6 o'clock in the morning and
that's
play
too
9
early for
holes
me.
and then go in and work. So I like getting everything done early and doing all that, and then you have the rest of the day to spend with family and doing those important things.
What would your principal walk-up song be?
Oh my goodness.
Which they should play this every day that you walk in. It should be your theme song over as all the kids are walking into the school.
Well, I'm torn between All I Do Is Win and The Champ Is Here.
Okay.
And that's that competitiveness, but they're both a little fun. You can dance to them.
Yeah.
I like dancing, so those would be both really good ones to do. I know some people might think it might be a Taylor Swift song or something like that because Taylor Swift was in our school before. But it would be something like All I Do Is Win or The Champ Is Here. I like songs like that to kind of get you motivated, get you excited about the day, and has a good beat to it.
What is your favorite book?
So I had a couple favorite books, but right now I would say my favorite book was called Relentless. It was about a gentleman from Australia that was a professional skateboarder that became a professional firefighter that then became a principal. And he just talked about as a leader, you can take everything that you've done in your life, and there's going to be examples or lessons that you've learned in those other positions that's going to help you be successful as a leader. So that was probably one of my favorite ones.
Yeah, I might have to pick that one up. What is one word your staff would use to describe you?
I would think they would say caring.
Yeah.
And probably crazy
sure.
because they know that I'll do whatever I need to do, at any time. But I would say they'll probably say I'm caring.
What is your favorite snack?
Of course, Reese cups.
Oh,
Our
I
kids know
miss
that.
those.
They bring them to me all the time. Like,
So good.
they know they'll drop those off in my office at times, and sometimes I trade them for one of my gumballs. So they like coming in to get a gumball and things like that. So definitely Reese cups.
What is your favorite school lunch?
Favorite school lunch. I'm always a fan of pizza, so our pizza's pretty good. When I was in school, I really liked the chili con carne, and you got a homemade roll with it.
Oh,
that was really good too.
That sounds fancy.
But pizza's it's hard to go wrong with pizza,
Yeah,
especially now they do stuffed crust. Like when we were in school, you didn't have stuffed crust.
No.
So now you get some extra cheese in there with the stuffed crust.
Well, that was fun. If today's conversation spoke to you, I wish that you guys would just share it with everyone. Please leave a 5-star review on whatever platform you listen on. I'm also on rss.com and YouTube. Make sure to go and subscribe. It's Gina-Rickner00. And if you're in a season of struggle, may this be a reminder that joy isn't just a feeling. It's a practice, a perspective, and sometimes a quiet triumph. Until next time, keep choosing joy. And as always, go find the joy today. Bye, friends.